Hello there, I am Rafael de Furia, back at it again, and tonight I wanted to talk a little bit more about some of the questions that I've been getting recently. The number one question that I've been getting about the situation from people abroad outside of Italy. And I do receive hundreds of messages privately per month from people who are wanting to come to Italy, move to Italy, get Italian citizenship, and various subjects that have to do with this. But since the outbreak has come to Italy, I have been receiving messages in an even higher volume than usual, and only about this situation. But in this video, I want to try to respond to as many of the questions as possible. The main one being, is it safe to travel to Italy right now? Should I come to Italy right now? But before we get too much deeper into the video, if you would like to help make videos like this possible on a monthly basis, you can go to rafaeldefuria.com/Patreon. And just as I've been saying in my comment section below these videos that have been on this subject, all of these videos will not be monetized. Thank you to those of you who have been helping to make these videos possible. It's all because of you guys that I'm able to keep this going. So like it says in my disclaimer, I am not a medical professional. I am not a medical specialist or any kind of authority on the matter. I am just a regular guy here with his boots on the ground, living in Italy, just sharing my take on the situation, my opinion on the situation. And so for the best information on the virus itself and the most up-to-date information on the situation, I highly advise going to a reputable authority on this matter, such as one of the many national health authorities commenting on this matter, specifically what the Italian government has to say, as well as the US government. The information for what they've put out is definitely the basis for a lot of my opinions on the matter. But in response to this question, should I come to Italy? Is it safe to come to Italy? I would probably have to say that Leyla, the pharmacist who has already been inside of one of these quarantine zones for, I believe, already 2 weeks now, she was in one of the original 11 towns that was quarantined, probably said it best. That what would you say for people who are considering to travel to Italy right now? Because that's a question that I get asked very often. What would you maybe advise to people?
That summer is a good season to travel to Italy, and please do so, because I think if government are okay with that and people are willing to do so, please come to Italy. I think it's still one of the best places on earth. So
I would definitely agree, and that's definitely why I'm here in this country. That Italy is a great place in the summer. It probably is not a bad idea to wait. Until this point, I have taken the very strong stance of not saying that you should come or that you shouldn't come, but just personally what my opinions are for me and how I'm dealing with the situation. But in today's video, I will be making a very definite stance, one that for those of you who have been watching my videos until this point on this subject will probably not be surprised by. With the closure of Lombardia, and the 11 zones, the new 11 zones, provinces that have been blocked off, that actually brings where I live very close to one of these new red zones. I live in a small city called Rovigo in the Veneto region of Italy, one of the two most affected regions thus far. And the closest province that has been declared a red zone is the Padua province, which it borders like right up against the province that I live in, which also happens to be called Rovigo. It's not just the city, but the area that I live in. For those of you who've followed me on Facebook during this time will know that the border between these two regions is just about under 4 kilometers. I think it's about 3.4 kilometers or so from where I live. So that's like, say, under 2 miles from where I live, from the center of this town, even if you go a little bit out. Not that it's such a big place. So if I wanted to, it would be possible to walk to this area, but I am definitely not going to. It's not a good idea. Because what the government here in Italy has been saying for those of us who do live here is that we should be remaining indoors as much as possible. So because it is the opinion of the government here in Italy that we should be staying in as much as possible, that would lead me to my opinion that I don't believe right now is the appropriate time to be coming here. And this line of thinking is also one of the reasons why in my first video on this subject is why I said I've chosen not to take public transportation and why I will not be traveling at this moment in time. I don't believe that right now it is wise to be doing so. one of you in particular, we've had a little bit of contact in private, as well as in some messages on here on YouTube and my Facebook, that this one person who has a job offer to go to Padova, I believe it was Padova at least. If not, it's one of the other lockdown areas. And the job, I believe, was supposed to start in April. But the question was if they should come at the end of March. Well, one, this part is not an opinion, but that nobody is really able to go in or out unless it's like emergencies and people with special permissions to be going through. So with the majority of people not being able to go in or out, I don't believe you would even be able to get there to begin with. So I don't believe it would be wise to even get onto the plane. You could end up in another part of Italy. And even with how things have been going recently, and just as somebody here, there almost seems to be this uptick in, I don't know quite how to put it, but like the stringencies, the measures being taken in this matter, whereas we saw just the other day with Lombardy and the new 11 provinces that have been closed off, that came very quickly. So at this point, a lot is unknown, and the situation seems to be changing not just day by day, but almost hour to hour. And when there are changes that have been made, they have been pretty drastic. So even being here in Rovigo, in the city of Rovigo and the province of Rovigo, I do have concerns that because we are very close to the Padova province, that we could be getting closer to something happening here. So far, they have not said that this area would be, but I have heard of a local request being made for this area at least to be called an economic red zone, that even if it's not as far as health risks go, that at least from an economic standpoint, that this area would be given some of the same leniencies and some of the same measures as what's been going on in some of the other areas where tax breaks, mortgages, and other various kinds of loans, there's being some leniency shown in those areas. So at this point, I don't know what's going to be of the area that I live in. With how much is unknown right now, I do not believe that it is a wise decision for anybody to really be traveling anywhere. But again, I'm not a doctor. I'm just a regular guy. But I have to say, I am concerned. And especially, I have seen a lot online that people have been saying, well, we're coming to Italy regardless of the situation. We're not worried about what's going on. And yes, Italy definitely needs tourism. A huge part of the economy here is based around it. It is vital for Italy and we need it here. But from my perspective, I do find that a little concerning that people from the United States, for example, where testing has been so much lower. Think about it like this. As we all know, Italy has been doing a lot of testing and the US by comparison has been doing a lot less. But when you put it into the perspective of per capita, per person, tests done per person in the nation, Italy has a much, much smaller population overall, but per capita, I don't believe that's the right term in this case, but at least I think my point gets across. And so between mainstream and alternative news now, it seems as though there are a number of doctors saying that there are probably a lot of cases walking around that just are going undiagnosed. So as somebody in a country that has had measures being taken more stringently, and with the government here being a lot more proactive about the situation, I would say that I would find it slightly concerning that people who may be coming from an area that could be worse affected, but it may not be worse affected, we just don't know what's going on, for them to want to come here. So this is not saying anything bad about Americans. As most of you know, I'm from the US. I realize there are some people out there who think I'm not. I don't know why. And I feel horrible about the situation that's going on. Even one of the worst affected areas in the US right now, Kirkland, Washington, is a place I spent a lot of time, a good chunk of my childhood. When I first heard about what was going on there, the hospital, the fire department, and even just the fire department, I remember when I was a kid, we went on a little school field trip to go there, or the hospital, we would drive by there. And to America, my heart definitely goes out to you guys, because this situation is very strange. And a lot of people are still saying that this is just a flu, but I'm at this point where I can't help but wonder if it's just a flu. Like I've mentioned in my other videos, why are major governments taking such stringent actions? when there have been other viruses that have come from this coronavirus family, because what we're calling coronavirus now isn't the only one of its kind. And in the case of past outbreaks, we haven't seen this kind of major reaction from global governments. I can't help but wonder if there's just so much unknown that maybe we really do need to be a bit extra careful, because maybe this is something like we've never seen before. Because unfortunately, ignorance isn't always bliss. Sometimes not knowing about a situation really can make it worse in the long run. So I am very grateful to be living here in Italy, where such stringent measures have been taken. Is it completely annoying, and is it really getting in the way of a lot of life right now? Hell yeah. I am not happy about the situation, but am I happy with how things are being handled now? Yeah, I am grateful for that. Until more is known, I think it's not such a horrible thing that maybe we take some time, that we take time to be at home, be with our families, really appreciate what we've got. And even if this is just a simple flu that's barely more than a cold or whatever, then okay, at least we got through it. Because just in my opinion, as just a regular guy, I think we are beyond the point of no return where we will see repercussions of this. Even if things were to open back up tomorrow and everything were fine tomorrow and this was all gone away, we would still feel some economic repercussions from this for a little while down the road here in Italy and around the world. But unfortunately, with how Italy has been shown in the media and how people have been talking about Italy that I have seen from abroad, I can't help but think that maybe Italy is going to be facing some prejudice in the future, because it already is facing some now. So again, to respond to those of you who have been asking this question, at this moment in time, I cannot advise to come to Italy for now. I would definitely say as soon as this is all over, come to Italy. It is a wonderful place. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you know exactly how I feel about this country, how much I love it, and how passionate I am about this country. I love to be able to call this home, and I'm so grateful that after so many years, I was able to make that happen. But for now, being patient and taking time, I don't think is the worst thing to do. I think it is better to be safe than sorry. Even for those of you who are going on cruises, if I'm not mistaken, the American government either yesterday or just today have advised against going on cruises. Beyond just my opinion, from a health perspective, let's leave that to the side for now. If you were to come to Italy at this moment in time, there are a couple of risks. One, getting trapped in a quarantine zone that may pop up immediately and not being able to get out. Like we saw the other day, this is actually what I would say is the first time I have seen panic in this situation. Until now, I've said I've seen none, but if you look at the video of the train station in Milan from just before midnight when people were trying to get out of there, I would definitely call that panicking. In general, are people panicking here? No, but that is one case of panic that I can say I have seen thus far. So, next point. If you're to come here, you would be able to see some things, but if you're going to specific sites, museums, churches, and so on, you very likely will not be able to get in, as many of them are being closed. Even churches. I just saw a video from Rome from yesterday that because the government has recommended that people, if they're in any kind of place, that they remain at least 1 meter apart from each other. There was a congregation in Rome that got together in a soccer field, like in a schoolyard soccer pitch, and everybody was sitting about 1 meter away from each other, and that's how they did their church service. But there are places where these are just not happening at all. The government has been canceling events left and right. For example, David from David's Dose of Italy mentioned in his video, which is a point that I haven't yet brought up in one of my videos, is that some of the events that have been canceled, such as football, soccer for Americans out there have been a lot of games that have still gone on, but without any spectators there. So that means that the game is still being played, but there's nobody there to watch it. There are some games that have been allowed for people to be there in the crowd, but I can say so far I've heard of more games without spectators than with spectators. Even the government has said that at this point in time, not only public gatherings should be canceled, but private gatherings as well. Even going as far to say not only weddings should not be happening right now, but funerals as well. And I know there are going to be a lot of people out there who will be angry with me for saying that maybe it's not a good idea to come to Italy right now, because within the tourism industry, there has been a push of people saying that they think that it would be a good idea. They have been saying that people should. They've been saying that there's nothing going on. And I can't help but feel that maybe that's slightly irresponsible in this situation where so much is unknown. Does Italy need these people to come here? Definitely. But maybe there are other ways of being able to help Italians through this situation. One of you left a comment on my last video. I can't remember the name of off the top of my head, but one of you mentioned that you are planning to buy an ebook by an Italian author. And so I think there are maybe ways of supporting the Italian economy if you are somebody who feels like you want to help with what's going on and to help support Italians through this, that maybe there are services online. Maybe take an Italian class, or maybe there is a digital product you can buy, or something that is coming directly from this country that can help to support the people who are here. Because Italy is not only feeling the health aspect of the situation, but Italy is also now feeling the economic side of the situation, with many people who are unable to work, or for businesses that have seen a huge drop in clientele actually coming to Italy. They have been suffering and feeling that pain as well of not having the normal income that they would be having. But I just had to say my 2 cents on that as well, because that's basically what this channel is, my 2 cents on things. So if you want to hear more of my 2 cents and would like to see more content about moving to Italy, Italian dual citizenship, and living life abroad, be sure that you're subscribed with that notification bell turned on. And if you could give this video a like and share it with your friends, that would be greatly appreciated. And if you haven't already watched my video with Leyla, the pharmacist, who's already been living in one of these quarantine zones and want to know a little bit more about what life has been like for her and people in her situation, be sure to check out my video from last Friday night, and please share that video. I think it is very important for her message and for her experience to be out there and to be told. Also, if you would like to help make content like this possible, please consider becoming a monthly patron of the channel. You can go to rafaeldifuria.com/Patreon. And again, a huge thank you to those of you who've been helping to make these videos, especially during this time. I can say I've already started feeling the economic side of things here. So thank you guys so much. Thank you all so much for your help to make these videos possible and to help these videos keep coming out. Thank you. But of course, as always, I'm Rafael Di Furia, and I will see you on Friday night, assuming that there are no major updates that come before then. And yeah, so assuming that there aren't, I'll see you all on Friday.